everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Organic Matters podcast, brought to you by the Irish Organic Association. Now, this week we're joined by Conor Mulhall from the Little Milk Company, and we're going to talk about all things organic milk and organic cheese in a little while. But Conor, first of all, you were in Biofach recently, which for anyone that doesn't know, it's in Germany. It is the world's leading trade fair for organic food. And I guess in Ireland, we still seem to be kind of, feeling out the market for organic food, but that's a different thing altogether, and it changes gear, doesn't it, Conor, when you go to the continent? So explain a little bit, what is Biofach for people who don't know what it is and the demand that's out there for organics.
Yeah, thanks, Hannah, and thanks for having me on. Biofach happens, or Biofach, I never know which it is, but anyway, usually happens in February most years. So nice time of year, start of the year, and people have their budgets, buyers from retail outlets, etc., have their budgets, and people who are doing projects are usually at the start of them. So obviously with COVID for the last couple of years, it's been pushed off. It was moved to July this year, so that was okay. We were over at it with about 7 or 8 other Irish companies. Borbia were the ones who kind of organised the trade stand. So it's the World Trade Fair for Organic, as you say. Probably 9 halls, I think. A little bit quieter this year because of summertime, but normally 9 full halls, which is, if you imagine the RDS, imagine 9 RDSs full of organic food, everything from there's a part of it that's kind of cosmetics, but the majority of it is food. There's probably 8 halls of food, and it's everything from different countries around the world. There's the Irish stand, there'd be an Ecuador stand and a British stand and all the various country stands. And then a lot of German companies themselves been there. You mentioned about the continent being a little bit further ahead, and I think that's fair. I suppose organic in Europe has been there for a lot longer than us. So organic would have been started to get big in Germany in the 80s. The Irish organic market, just to give an idea of it, the Irish organic market's somewhere between 250 and 300 million euro in total. That's for all between dairy and beef and vegetables and the whole lot. Like the German organic market's just shy of 15 billion. It grows by about 1 billion a year. So the growth in Germany is 3 or 4 times the Irish market. So it's a huge market.
I think that there's a note here like that the German organic market is the largest in Europe, and it's grown by over 50% since 2016. So that's huge.
Yeah. Huge, yeah. I remember when we went to Germany first, I think which was 2013, was it a 5.8 billion or 6 billion, something like that. Now it's at 15 billion. And look, like the reason, we would read various reports on this stuff, the reason for the growth there. So the German birth rate has been under 1 since before 1987. So 2 parents, 1 kid. And the easiest person to sell organic food to is a mother for her newborn child, because nothing's too good for my little baby, which is perfectly fine. So if nothing's too good for little Gunther, and they only have 1 kid, he's going to be getting organic food. We have 3 kids here at home. When the eldest was born and going to the childminder, my wife was up at 5 o'clock in the morning pureeing apples and carrots. And by the time the 3rd child came along, you practically give him a $5 on the way out the door to buy something in the shop. So, but the Germans never get past the 1st child. So it's organic all the way. And those kids who were, the lone child back in 1985, 1986, 1987, sure, they're 35, 36, they're having their own kids now. So all they've ever known is organic food. So there's a whole world out there of organic that we wouldn't even get our head around in Ireland. Like an organic, be it in any of the major retailers here, there's an organic section, or there might be an organic offering within the dairy or the vegetable section. You go to Germany, there's 3 or 4 organic only retailers. And these aren't people like with 4 stores. One of the people we would sell to, Denray, I think they have 350 of their own stores. They delivered into 900 other organic stores. So there's 1,200 stores as they're reached. Like that's almost the size of the Irish market itself, as in the Irish retail market. So it's huge. Organic in Europe, in France, in Germany, right across continental Europe is huge.
And the fact that that kind of, I guess, population status is being emulated in a lot of European countries in terms of, like you said, 2 parents, 1 child. Is that good news? Because do you have to have a consumer that is willing to pay a bit more, to put a bit more thought into what they're buying in shops?
I think so. Like if we whoever's doing the shopping, be it the mum or dad, walking down the aisle with a single child, child in the shopping trolley, you have a bit more time to think about what you're doing. When you're at home doing online shopping, you have a bit more time to do it. If you've got 3 kids hanging off the trolley, you're just trying to survive and get through the traffic, you know.
Speaking from personal experience there, Conor. Yeah, well,
yeah, 100%. And even just, you know, if you're feeding more mouths, it costs more. And organic is a premium product. So, I mean, that's the reality. One can argue whether it should or shouldn't be, whether there should be more state support or not. They're all conversations way above my pay grade. But ultimately, organic is a premium product. So therefore, you know, you need to have people who, you know, who understand what organic is, for starters, understand what it is and what the offering is, and have time to think about what they're buying and to have the money to be able to back that up. You know, we all, I don't need to tell you on an organic podcast of the benefits of organic food. But, you know, if you, as I say, if you're just surviving and just getting through the day, you know, buying a chicken for $5 to feed your family is option A. You're not thinking down to what the animal welfare was of that chicken, what the chicken was fed, you know, what the back up the supply chain, what that means when from that feed and what it does to the environment. You don't have time for that. You just have to feed your kids. So I think you're absolutely right that, you know, as we have, as the population shrinks, there definitely is a move more towards organic because people have more time, more money, and more headspace to deal with it. Look at COVID. The sales of organic food went up during COVID. Why? People did more time because they were at home. They were researching food because they started learning about their immune system. They started thinking about that they need to be healthy and their immune system needs to be strong for themselves, for their kids, for their parents. And they were kind of going, well, let's have a look at organic. And it's no surprise that organic grew faster than everything else across lockdown. Made sense, you know?
Yeah, I guess there is, yeah, and that was right. And Board B did some work on that. It was interesting to see the stats and the link between organic and in terms of people's health and, like you said, the COVID impact on that. I guess at the fair, though, when we talk about organic being a premium product, and I'm thinking of things like, say the Bank of England say that England will be in a recession next year, and there are grumblings and mumblings about the economy and obviously inflation. At the fair, was there any concern among retailers or consumers or producers that any potential knock-on effect to the economy would have a knock-on effect in terms of people buying organic food?
I think there will be. I think we would all like to feel that our businesses will be insulated from the reality that's out there. But you know, ultimately, you will have a cohort that would buy organic food no matter what happens. Okay, no matter what the price of it is, they will buy that. They will eat less or whatever. You'll have a cohort that want to buy organic food because they feel it's the right thing to do. But if it gets, you know, if they're priced out of the market, shall we say, like if they have to choose between heating the apartment in Dusseldorf and buying organic food rather than buying conventional food, you could see that some of those people would waver. There's no doubt. And you know, the price of conventional milk is up substantially. The price of organic milk is up substantially. The price of food is up substantially, and the price of wages and stuff, you know, hasn't followed suit in many places. So therefore, people will have to make decisions. There's only so far you can push, you know, the price in the marketplace. We will be paying for organic milk in Ireland, and obviously we need to pass that on to our customers to be able to make up the difference. You know, in some instances that's doable. The ingredients people seem to be a little bit more open to that. Retailers wouldn't be, because I suppose retailers see that whoever comes into the shop, be it in Berlin or Ballymun, and they have a certain amount of money to spend. And if we keep pushing the price of organic up too far, we will definitely price some people out of the market. So I think the recession, if it does come, will certainly have an effect right across the whole food chain. And I think organic will be hit. There will be some people who buy it anyway, but I think the new entrants to organic, be it those people from during the COVID time or other people, you know, we need to make sure that our offering still makes sense to them. That's for sure.
I guess you've been managing director of the Little Milk Company for a while now, and we'll bring it back to something a little bit more positive. We don't want to bring people down too much, but the Little Milk Company, because it is a success story and it's quite a great story. So I was wondering if you'd just recap briefly on how it came about and what its raison d'etre is.
Yeah, so set up by a group of very forward-thinking organic farmers back in 2008, 2009. They came together, and I suppose, right now there's obviously a lot of turmoil in the milk market. There was also back then, and they felt that, look, they really wanted to see, could they add a bit of value to their own milk? So rather than just being price takers at the gate of, you're paid, you're told at the end of the month whatever you're going to get paid, they wanted to have some say in all of that. So bunch came together. As there's some very progressive people. Pat Maroney, who was organic back in the late 80s, early 90s, when nobody in Ireland even knew what organic was. John Stevenson, John List, and Sean Condon, and a heap of others who came together. And getting a group of farmers to collectively decide on doing something is, can be challenging, but they managed to do that. So looked at liquid milk. That didn't make a huge amount of sense. Looked at adding some value, maybe yogurt was already Glennisk in the market, so that didn't make any sense. So had a look at cheese because there seemed to be a gap in the market. Made some cheese in 2011, got it taste tested. People thought it was excellent. Made some more in 2012. I came on board in 2012 as general manager, by the way, rather than managing director, but thank you for the promotion.
Apologies.
That's okay, no, it's no problem. And I suppose in 2013, then we started selling. Our first sale was to Sheridan's, who were great supporters back in the day, and that was great. And we went to our first Biofach in 2013 just to go over and have a look, and went from thinking organic was the little bit in the corner of the country market or the little bit in the corner of the supermarket chain to realizing this is a world industry, and realizing pretty quickly that we needed to be exporting if we were going to turn any volume. So we would read all the Board Beer reports, the Kantar ones, and that showed us that the biggest market in was Germany, followed by France in Europe. And I suppose the advantage to us that with the Germany and France story is that in Germany the number one butter being sold is Kerrygold, and Kerrygold is very well sold in France as well. And the French would buy a lot of Irish lamb and beef. So you were going into a market where they already knew where Ireland was. They already knew that it was that it was an agricultural country that had very clean, green credentials. And so we were going in, not quite pushing an open door, but we certainly weren't pointing that. We didn't have to point to the map and tell them where Ireland was. They knew that. We were arriving in to a place, so they already knew about our dairy industry. They already knew about the quality of our food. They already knew about the backstory. So we were going in presenting our product, and it was therefore about the products without having to do all the backstory stuff, which was great. So our first export sale was in October 2013. So about 4 months after our first domestic sale was our first export sale. And exports has played a big part in the milk company since then. We would.
So what proportion would be exports? What percentage?
About 80% of our business would be exports.
And from the breakdown of that 80%, does the bulk of that go to the German market or the French market?
Between Germany and France, yeah. Germany, France, and the States would be our three biggest markets.
Okay. And what kind of cheese are they into? Because I remember listening to
cheddar. I mean, we started doing a lot of artisan products at the start. And that was that got us in and allowed us to make our name, and we had some wonderful products. We would have won the best cheese in France in 2016 in a blind taste test with a cheese we made called Brewer's Gold, which was kind of a washed rind, smelly cheese, shall we say. But really the volume, when you're exporting and stuff's going on containers and stuff is going out and it's on the sea, it's going to the States, or it's on containers going to Germany, shelf life is key. Because if you're shipping, you can't have something that has a 25-day shelf life. It just doesn't work. So cheddar made sense. And then the 23rd of June 2016 happened on Brexit. Now, we never would have sold a huge amount into the UK, but all of a sudden, the biggest competitor that we would have had out in the marketplace, which was UK organic cheddar, shot itself in the foot through Brexit, because as you've seen over the last while, it's just harder and harder for UK companies to export their products to Europe, between paperwork and health certs and vet certs and all of that, and it's only probably going to get worse. So we'd be banging on the door of a lot of companies for years saying, hey, would you be interested in our organic cheddar? And they it shows, you'd be following up, you'd be visiting them, you'd send them samples, and we just couldn't get any traction with some German and French customers. And then the Brexit thing happened, and they kind of went back and looked at the supply chain saying, yeah, we probably need to plan outside the UK. And people saying, I remember an Irish guy who was annoying us at a show a couple of years ago, and they pulled out the card. So the Brexit thing definitely gave us a bit of a bounce, which was great. So in Germany, we would sell to retail, we would sell to food service, we would sell as an ingredient. So cheddar, but cheddar in different guises. So for retail, it might be sliced and grated and block. For For food service, we could be selling the full block that we make, the 10 kilo block. And then for ingredients, we do a cheese powder. So we take the cheese that we have and we turn it into cheese powder, as in we take all the moisture out of it and it turns into a white, like flour product. And we'd sell that as ingredients to people for snack foods, etc. So that works pretty well.
Talking about ingredients, there is kind of an interesting case where Ireland ships a huge volume of baby milk formula to various countries across the world. And yet, if I look along the shelves and look at baby milk formula, the organic baby milk formula usually comes from France. Are we potentially missing a trick there? Or do we even want to get into baby milk formula? Because cheese, I understand you can sell at a premium, but are we missing a trick there on organic baby milk formula?
And we may be. It's not our business, so I don't understand the landscape of the market. I would agree with you that the organic baby food that comes in is important. We probably don't have the volume of milk, being honest, because if you look at any of the big dryers that are required that make the conventional milk powder here, like what we would produce in a year wouldn't turn on the dryer for half an hour.
Right.
And when it's organic, they obviously need to have the process in place. They need to have the organic management plan in place. They need to wash down before and after each run, etc. So us going in with what might be a big volume of milk to us, us going in with 100,000 litres of milk on a Monday, sure, they'll be looking saying, when you deliver the other million, you know what I mean? So it just doesn't, the numbers just don't stack up. Now look, maybe with the new scheme opening up and lots more people coming in down the road, that's an opportunity that might be there for somebody.
In terms of the schemes, the new organic scheme that's going to be launched with the new cap in 2023, for dairy in particular, there's a focus because they want to get more dairy farmers. I think officially there's only about 62 organic dairy farmers in the country at the minute. So the new rates for the year 1 and 2 in conversion, it's going to be €350 per hectare. And then after that, for the fully converted, it's going to be €300 per hectare. And there's also going to be a participation payment. So if you're in conversion for the first year, it'll be €2,000, and then it'll be €1,400 per year after that. So, I mean, they look quite attractive, but farmers are going to wonder, is the milk price attractive enough? And also, is there going to be enough demand there? Because I guess everyone's looking at this potential recession that could happen. So do you think that the milk price is going to be attractive? Only you can answer that. And also, do you think that the demand will be there if more farmers do decide to become organic?
I suppose on the demand side, I do think the demand is going to be there. We've got some great organic producers in Ireland. Rivar, Vaughan Village, Jerry, Glenest, ourselves. I'm sure I've already missed a few, but there's some great ones out there. We've been at various conferences and on various Zoom things over the last 12 months where all of them are looking for more milk. And I think the more milk you would have, the more opportunities arise. Like we would have from time to time, we'd talk to retailers in Germany and they would offer us a national listing. So a national listing might be all the stores across Germany rather than a regional listing, like all the stores for Munster or wherever in Germany. So I think the more milk you have, the more opportunity will be there, for sure. I know there's not enough winter milk out there. We don't do winter milk. We're cheese making is perfect for spring calving. We want milk from Paddy's Day to the end of October. Whereas I know some of the other guys who are doing milk and yogurt, etc., all year round probably is a bit more important for them. But I do think the demand is there. Secondly, from a milk price point of view, yeah, look, I mean, milk price, what will milk price look like in 2 years' time when they come into conversion? I'd love to know what milk price would look like in 2 months' time or 2 weeks' time. Like it's changing all the time. Every month it changes now, and it changes upwards.
But to give people a flavour, because I guess we've seen nearly record milk prices in conventional, but I guess organic, because it's smaller, isn't talked about very much. But what's your average milk price been over the last kind of say summer months?
Yeah, I suppose we play A plus B minus C, so it would depend on people's solids ultimately. I think we had a base price of 54 for the month of June, and farmers would have got various, depending on their milk solids, they would have got various different prices above that. Our farmers tend to actually do better than the base price because we would have quite a few once a day milkers, and we would have a lot of the the herds that our lads have tend to be higher in protein and fats than conventional for whatever reason. So they would tend to do, whereas there might be a couple of cents above the base price for conventional, we usually a couple of cents above that again from on the solids for our own side.
And what would be like? Do you have a minimum kind of solid criteria that people?
No, I mean, we pay on 3.3, 3.6, and bonuses above that. So no, we don't have a minimum on that. Like, we're making cheese, so solids are what we want, being honest. So that works relatively well. And look, because our cows are primarily grass fed, it's relatively predictable for people, because if they're coming out in March and they're going back in, we're finishing up at the back end of October. Most farmers will have a sense of what their solids look like most years from year to year. Like, going back to the conventional price, like, obviously it's up quite a bit this year. Conventional milk price tends to move in cycles. 34, 35 down to 24, 25. We're now at 54, 55. So where would that be in 12 months? I mean, who knows? But the only thing I would say is, usually, and this is counterintuitive, but for when people are thinking about converting when the milk price is strong, is actually the perfect time to do it. Historically, if milk price went down to 24, 25 cents a litre, we would get a lot of people in an organic farm walk, because people were thinking, well, maybe I'll get into the organic because it'll give me a better price. But when the milk price was historically at 35, 36, you'd get very few people at the farm walk, because they were happy with the milk price. They were going to focus on other things in farm life, which is fine. But actually, the time to convert is when milk price is strong, because if you get a good milk price, you mentioned the figures there per hectare and the bonus payments for conversion. If you're in conversion when milk price is high, that's a much easier time to convert. Like, converting it when it's at the low point of the cycle is difficult. But it's one of those counterintuitive things that's hard to buy into. Like, governments should invest during a recession, but they always invest during a boom. It's one of those counterintuitive things that doesn't work. But for people to think about convert when milk price is high. That's the smart move. And I do think,
is this a gentle nudge to anyone out there who might be thinking that you would be ready to take people on if they are?
Oh, of course, yeah. Like, we're talking to people all the time, and people call us all the time, and we're always happy to talk to people. For us, the organic industry is, as you mentioned, 62 farmers. It's a small enough industry. So everything that can help us grow and develop that industry, develop the markets that are out there, develop the producers, I think is a good thing. I think it's to be welcomed. The new scheme, I think, will certainly, like, organic won't be for everybody, right? And that's fine. But if the number of farmers went from 62 to 82 to 122 to 162 over the next 2 years, 3 years, that'd be great, because I think it would open up a whole lot of opportunities that are out there, not just for us, but for all the other producers. I heard somewhere that we've 5 million people on the island, and we produce enough dairy products for 50 million people. So there's a serious opportunity there from an organic point of view, to be able to produce dairy products and sell them off the island and sell them on the island.
Okay, well, that's, I think, food for thought for a lot of people. Conor, thank you very much. And if anyone's interested in looking at more about the Little Milk Company, they have a website, thelittlemilkcompany.ie. But from all of us here at the Organic Matters podcast, thank you very much. And if you want to find out some more about organics, you go to www.irishorganicassociation.ie.